Shalom everyone, this is Rabbi Jeffrey Leynor. We're going to be continuing our lessons here. Today we're going to be talking about Jewish funeral practices, and I tell you what happens when a Jewish person dies, or actually when they're dying, because this is a complete process. This is part of some of the job that I do in hospice and working with the dying. A Jewish funeral is a sacred rite and should be invested with both dignity and simplicity as taught by Jewish tradition. The family of the deceased should consult the rabbi when death occurs, and definitely pre-planning is encouraged. These are things that you do not want to do when someone you love has been taken from you and you have to sit there and fill out all these papers and decide about caskets and everything. I know that it is an unpleasant subject, but for some people, but I think it gives people a peace of mind knowing what's going to happen and that certain people will not be burdened. So definitely. Now, the Jewish way with death is one part of a larger philosophy of life in which all persons are viewed with dignity and respect. Our people believe that even after death, the body, which once held a divine reflection, retains sanctity. The sages compared the sacredness of the deceased to an impaired Torah scroll. When a Torah scroll is no longer usable, it is buried. It's not burned. It's not thrown away. It retains its holiness. In Jewish tradition, therefore, the greatest consideration and respect are accorded to the dead. Now, some of the things I'll talk to you about are things that may be a little foreign, I know, because I do non-Jewish funerals and things that a lot of times people will, at a non-Jewish funeral, the casket is left up, covered with flowers, and, that's the tradition. It's certainly a valid tradition. We do things differently, and I've seen that when some non-Jews participate, it kind of shakes them up, but hopefully that having some of this knowledge will ease their minds. Jewish law and tradition have endowed funeral and mourning with profound religious significance, and to this end, Jewish funerals avoid ostentation. Family and visitors reflect in dress and deportment the solemnity of the occasion. Flowers and music are inappropriate. Now, for me, there may be some music that people, the deceased, that was meaningful, those kind of things, and I think that depends individually on your rabbi. Embalming and viewing are to be avoided, and that has to do with you're supposed to be buried completely, whole with your blood. Viewing, I've heard from people in the non-Jewish tradition that a lot of times they are sorry that they were viewing people because it kept in their mind, that's the image that they had of the person. In Judaism, there's an effort made to break with the body, with the physical, and to remember the good, the person, the righteousness of the person, and happier things about that person, that they are kind of alive. Internment is supposed to take place as soon as possible after death. There is a group called a Chevra Kadisha, a holy society. Traditionally, this supervises the funerals in Jewish communities, and this consists of volunteers, both men and women, who aid the bereaved and ensure that appropriate practices are followed. In some communities, this is carried out by local cemetery societies or by the funeral homes themselves, which observe, Jewish customs and traditions. Now, the preparation and burial of the body are highly valued mitzvot. They're a highly valued thing to do for someone else. Women prepare women for burial. Men prepare men. It is what we call in Hebrew a chesed shel emet. A true act of kindness is performed without ulterior motive, for the dead can't repay this service. That's also why we cover a grave. This is something that a person can't do for themselves. And I usually frame it in the context of a final act of chesed, of loving kindness for the deceased. When a member of a community dies, it is the community's responsibility to lovingly assist the deceased family in this final act.